I wanted to make just a short video for Oxygen Not Included, which is a game from Clay Entertainment. The people make Don't Starve, a game which I have set on stream I don't like, but um, this has a very interesting puzzle as far as survivability goes. Um, Now, I'm gonna straight up say that I'm adapting a lot of work from stuff that I've seen on Reddit, on YouTube. Brothgar stream is one that I've checked out, and and I've been starting to put together stuff that isn't obvious. So also I'll put a timestamp down in the description below so you don't have to listen to the last couple minutes of all that about. This is basically the setup for making a refrigerator, specifically one that uses hydrogen for cooling. Um, all of the videos that I've seen are basically, this is how it works, and they never actually explain how to do any of the setup for it. So as you can see, I've got hydrogen going all through here, some pumps running in polluted oxygen, and this is a real quote unquote real world game, not me screwing around with debug mode. So I'm using abyssalite insulated tiles all around, and I I actually think this might be too big. Right now it's 11 tiles wide inside, and that might be too big. Um, so keep that in mind. But the system that I built up uses a snaking set of pipes going back and forth to cool the system. Um, and this initial part should be fairly easy for figuring out how to get your dupes to build, and just this is going to be filled with ladders all inside as they build the things. So these pipes, make them out of granite. Your vents up here um, can be made out of copper or gold. I make them out of gold just because I have a lot of gold laying around. But down here in this corner, um, notice that I have the pump in a 3x3 cell. And then I have this little stair step tile here, so that as oxygen condenses from gas into liquid, it spills down in here, and it spills over the tile where I have a hydro switch set to about 30 kilograms. What this does is this makes sure that the liquid pump that it's attached to, and I'll go through my electrical attachments, isn't always running, because that's wasteful. Up in here, I have a 3x3 square cell for the hydrogen pump system to come in. What happens is hydrogen flows all through here through granite. Notice that these tiles are not insulated. Comes in here to this dumping ground where a thermometer asks, how cold is it? Is it cold enough? Yes, no, and then it turns this pump on and off. If it's cold enough, then we don't need to be running the pump or this thermal regulator. And it pumps through hydrogen in insulated tubes all the way through the whole system. So this part of it should be pretty obvious. Notice that I have quite a few cells here, vents here, in this one single cell. This vent right here, I don't know why the hell it's there, but it is. Call it a manufacturer defect. These two vents right here, this is the one that dumps the hydrogen out from the cooling coils. This one up here was from when I was charging the system, and I'll go into how to charge the system in a bit. But basically it comes in here, snakes through the thermal regulator, and blah blah blah. As far as getting polluted oxygen in here, I just have a bunch of vents in here so that there's lots of space for polluted oxygen to fall through. You will come into a point, if you have a lot of polluted oxygen coming out, where just having one vet is not going to cut it, because if you look around at the density of gas around here, you know, it's it varies as it comes down here. Up at the top, we have a density of 176. Down here at the bottom, it's not much. So you need to be able to supply a lot of polluted gas to this, but that's another thing. Supplying the polluted gas, I just have a pump that pumps hydrogen there. Rather polluted oxygen there with a filter. This pump is in a horrible place to pump polluted oxygen. You want this closer to the bottom of your base. How my kludge right now is I have a gas pump coming from the bottom of my base. So it just kind of picks up ambient stuff, and then there's fart everywhere. For charging the system, I set up an area right here. Before this vent was built, this was a solid wall, and I set up an electrolyzer that just started making hydrogen and oxygen. And I was using this pump here to charge this whole bit. The difference was from this gas filter was connected into the charging tube straight here, and if it encountered hydrogen, it pumped it into the system. If it encountered anything else, then it just carried on and went to the rest of the area. This charging system with one electrolyzer took almost 40 or 50 cycles to fill all these tubes. It took a long time. It also took an incredibly long time to cool these down to the 80 or 90 Kelvin that you needed at. So this is a long project. But as you can see, I mean, it's working. I got, some polluted oxygen sitting down here. How much oxygen do I have? 22 kilograms, waiting to be pumped out. And that's basically all of that. These mechanized locks I set up because I didn't initially have this tile, so I had to set up a system to go in there and build it. I'm actually thinking of shrinking this down by a couple tiles, and so these locks are also there for that. Now, one thing about the thermoregulators, I did have an idea to set up more, but I changed my mind. And this thermoregulator gets really freaking hot unless you flood it just the tiniest bit. Then there's a bug in the game which lets you not have to deal with that. If you try to use a wheezewort to cool it, the wheezewort will die. If you try to use a hydro fan to cool it, you're losing a dupe. And as you can see, I only have 5, so I don't want to screw with that. And that's basically it. I'll go through my, the water system. This is what I was using to load up that little area with water. This was the water going up to the electrolyzer, for that. I probably need to deconstruct this now, but I wanted to leave it for when I was making the video. And the power system, you just, power these bits however you're going to power them. But as far as setting up the power for your cooling intake, you need this thermo switch set to the condensation point of oxygen, or a little bit cooler. It should actually be a little bit cooler, so that this isn't running if it doesn't need to. Similarly here for this pump, I use a hydro switch, and when this has enough liquid oxygen in it, then this kicks on. So yeah, the reason why I wanted to go into this detail is because it took me a long time to figure out what the hell was going on in the videos and the screenshots. Right now I'm working on a boiler to purify polluted water, so I don't have to worry about the sand that I'm running out. This is going to be a CO2 purification center, and so I'm going to figure out how to get all this set up. But it's taking a while. One thing I would say is that this takes a lot of power to keep going, and you will find that you'll need a couple coal generators or or more to keep the entire setup going. I know Brothgar only uses like one little dude in a wheel, but all he's worrying about is this system here. I'm taking care of a lot more. Anyway, if you have questions, I'll do my best to answer them, or take them over to Brothgar's channel, or ask them on Reddit. I mean, they've put a lot more thought into this than I have. I just wanted to explain what I'm doing to make the system, and hopefully this helps.